Hey there. This is the Friday segment of 5 Minutes with KeRusso. It's good that you tune back in. It's a very special Friday because it's my last one with you. Next Friday, we'll have new people coming in, starting with Whitney. You got some very special people coming your way. Not only are they better looking than I am and smarter than I am, but they have their own journeys in life. And they're going to share with you how God has been relevant to them and how His Word has helped them. I think you're going to get a lot out of these Friday sessions. So keep coming back. Pass the word on to other people, especially young people. And Mondays, we're going to stay in books of the Bible and learn how to read those. And so this coming Monday, I have a new book I want to share with you. It's not new to the Bible, but you may not have spent much time in it. You'll be blessed on these Mondays and Fridays. And once in a while, a Wednesday we'll throw in there. So join us, okay? Next Friday, you got good stuff coming your way. Today, I want to spend some time with you in a particular psalm, in Psalm 119. The book of Psalms, they're numbered like chapters, but they're really called psalms, not chapters. But if they were called chapters, Psalm 119 would be the longest chapter in the Bible. There's 176 verses there. And you might think, well, who would write 176 verses? And who would read 176 verses? Well, you might want to consider that. Let your relationship with God grow. You don't have to limit yourself to just reading a verse a day or a verse now and then or a few verses. There's blessings that come actually by spending more time with God. And in this particular psalm, I'm going to share a couple things with you. And hopefully you'll see that. One is, the whole psalm is speaking about God's laws, about His commands. Now, when you and I think about laws and commands, we don't always get thrilled about that. Sometimes we're not really excited about commands and laws. We find them to be restrictive. But when you read this psalm, you'll read other words that describe God's laws. A delight, sweet as honey on the honeycomb. And maybe there's a perspective about God's laws that you and I need to grab hold of, and spending time in this psalm might help us do that. Now, the other thing I want to share with you about this psalm, let me show you this. You'll notice it's broken down into sections. You see Psalm 119, then you see the section Aleph, and then there's a few verses, and there's another section called Beth, and then a few more verses, and a section called Gimel and Daleth, and that's how it goes through this psalm. The whole psalm is broken down into sections like that. Well, what's going on with that? You don't even understand those letters or those words, possibly. Well, what they are there letters from the Hebrew alphabet. It's an acrostic. And the psalmist, when they wrote this, he started with the very first letter of the alphabet and went to the very last letter of their alphabet. And each one, they said something about God's law. And in a way, if you want to paraphrase it, what they're saying to us is God's laws will cover you from A to Z. There's nothing that can happen to you in life that God's laws can't guide you in, can't give you life in, can't bless you in. Boy, that's pretty heavy. That's a pretty big and bold statement. But that's what this psalm is saying. For instance, if you happen to be a young person, you might relate to the second section here under Beth. Starts at verse 9. How can a young person stay on the path of purity? You might have struggled with that yourself. The answer is by living according to your word. And the psalmist goes on, I seek you with all my heart. Do not let me stray from your commands. I have hidden your word in my heart, that I might not sin against you. Praise be to you, Lord. Teach me your decrees. With my lips I recount all the laws that come from your mouth. I rejoice in following your statutes, as one rejoices in great riches. I meditate on your precepts and consider your ways. I delight in your decrees. I will not neglect your word. This psalm is calling you into the Bible and calling you in to know God's word and to spend time there, to slow down and spend time with God there. Meditate on his word. Know all of his commands. Just like a young person might be led to pursue riches, instead, find your joy in the riches of God's word. This psalm is calling you into this. to spend time with God. I would encourage you to spend time in this particular psalm until it speaks to you. Meditate on what you read and let it become a place of joy and delight for you. God's word is special. Okay? That's really what I want to share with you this morning. Every time you open this book, you have a chance to have an encounter with God. Delight in those encounters. All right. Leave an email if you want. Leave a comment if you want, or send an email at booksbykerusso@gmail.com. I'll see you on Monday. You'll be with Whitney, I think, on Wednesday and then on Friday next week. Be blessed.